know, you have the power of some intentions, words, and some information that you are definitely going to enlighten and then give me some insight on. And even more so, I know because you're a reflection of me that I'll probably be able to do the same thing for you today.
Awesomeness. So this baby buzz is a thing, and you will never be the same again. Your experience of reality will expand. And it's bigger now than it ever has been, and it never goes back again. It never shrinks back.
I would definitely agree with that. I have it's interesting, like I said, that you use the word baby buzz. So for people that don't know, I know we're connected already, and we're gonna get deeper into that. But so my woman was in labor, literally, like, so I'm gonna put this in perspective for you, from my perspective, like in sequential order, so you can grasp where I'm at right now and how I can relate to this baby buzz, because I'm really buzzing. I like best drugs ever, right?
Yeah.
So she was in labor starting, what was this? So today being Friday, full moon, Buddha's enlightenment, a whole lot of course of others, my daughter's birthday. My woman started labor around, like, having kind of pains and showing those signs like around Tuesday. And because we had planned to have our child at a birth center instead of like the traditional hospital, we was pretty much already in the mindset prepared that, a woman's body and the baby works hand in hand with creation. So they're going to come and things are going to happen when they're ready to happen. Like,
Yes.
So, so we roll into Wednesday, she was more like, cause this is her first child. So, and this is our first child together. So I was more like, okay, I'm cool. And I know the dads have their like own little thing. We watched enough shows. Dads are real quiet in their thing, but the midwives had already preempted us to say that they're not really going to allow us in, even especially with the pandemic COVID stuff going on now. They're not going to allow us into the birthplace center until she's dilated at least like 6 to 8 centimeters.
I see. Right? I see. So the process was handed back to you, Daddy.
Okay, so I'm like, okay, so in my course of not knowing, a woman's body is very intricate. Like, I give y'all so much more honor and respect. Like, the feminine energy is, wow, that's a powerful force, right? But me not knowing, 6 to 8 inches is damn near, we about to have a baby.
Right, that's right.
So we had our scheduled appointment, because we was 38 weeks at the time. We had our scheduled appointment to go in to just the regular seeing every week, or every 7 days, which was a Thursday. So we was going into our regular meeting yesterday a.m. Thursday, 10 o'clock. Well, like I said, mind you, she's been showing signs of laboring since Tuesday night, maybe around like 11, 12-ish. And we go in there and I'm like, she's able to deal with pain, and that's a whole nother story as well. But like, she's very calm and patient and just very relaxed. And she gets up there on the table, and they open her up and see what's everything going on with the baby. We hear a heartbeat and say, well, you're having a contraction now? She was like, yeah, I'm having a contraction. The midwife say, well, we have some good news for you. You're 8 centimeters dilated. No, she said she was 6 centimeters dilated. Like, hold on. From my recollection, this is where birthing starts, right? So they're like, yeah, go ahead and get your bags and all that. So once again, things are always happening. So it's what we're prepared for and how we're able to deal with those opportunities, right? Had bags packed and all that. Only thing we were unable to have was like that food, that midnight food or that snack afterwards.
Oh, right. Yeah, the special snack, the last eating. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we went in thinking like it's just a regular thing, like, you know, they're already
right.
Like,
you didn't know you were going express from that location. Yeah.
Yeah, like, because like you said, even I was already mentally prepared to deliver my child. Like the way they sounded, like 6 to 8 centimeters, water bust. We don't want you to come to the birth center unless her water break. And you know, they're totally different than a hospital where
right,
you know, within 4 hours you can, you know, go home and leave. Because they're not dosing you, joking you up with all the drugs and all that other stuff, you know. But anyway, she said she's 6 centimeters. I'm like, damn, we don't have no food. That's the only thing we left out. So we go ahead and start laboring. About 23 hours later, so 23 hours later, it was in fact, my daughter was born today at military time, 3200. 32, that's like that's 12:32. She was born this AM early. And yeah, wow, I'm talking about, I have never seen a child born in real life. The energy,
yeah, so really something amazing.
Once again, the infant, the baby high, the baby drunk, baby fix, the dopa, the baby buzz. I'm on all them baby drugs right now. So I definitely appreciate you for showing up, and I honor you for even sitting down once again with me to talk with myself and my listeners, the Young Touchable Family Podcast Show. I have been running on, like I said, these past 48 hours, I'm running on probably like 6 hours of sleep.
Well, I'm amazed you want to do this with me today. I thought, oh man, he's going to want to rest, but I'm so honored that you would want to, you know, just come on, let's just keep on rolling through.
Because things happen, for one, and we're going to talk. We have an excellent show for, man. We're going to have a real dialogue because things do happen in life, regardless of even me having a child. I made previous obligation, dedication to sit down with you as a person that's a spiritual worker that I've connected with personally because we have a backstory, and just even based on our last conversation with peacock feathers and different other symbolic things that I can connect with individually in my life, and you revealed that you were able to connect with this right here. I only saw the birth of my daughter and the so-called baby buzz as something that I should run off of, because it was a powerful energy, and there's no reason that I should let that go to waste. And I know you.
Yes, exactly. How wise you are. Absolutely. Yep. And tonight, you know, the eclipse is happening. The strawberry moon is happening. I mean, it is all on. This is really powerful time. Absolutely. And it is cool that, you know, our lives link back together, you know, after a while. and we're in a new space. You know, the things that we were just imagining, the things that are happening now, you know, for our lives, you know, when we met before. So that's really cool, you know, that this is like a moment of fruition, you know, literally with your new family. And, you know, for me, I feel like I'm in a place where I'm expressing myself more. I'm communicating more in a lot of different ways, and, you know, changing my sort of the hat that I was wearing opens up a lot of different opportunities and possibilities for me. So it can go in a lot of different directions, which I like, because that's how my brain works.
Right? Hey, totally. So I'm gonna tap into your brain. Once again, I know we've been talking on here like we've known each other forever, because we have. But this is the Young Untouchable Family Podcast broadcast show, where we talk about the power of words, how the lack or the expandedness of your vocabulary does create your reality on a mental, physical, and spiritual level. This is a spiritual season that we're in. In fact, it's like I said, my daughter was born on full moon. As you can probably attest, as being a woman, as a spiritual woman in tune and awakened, you know that the moon is very powerful when it comes to women and the feminine energy. It's a testament that my daughter was born at the peak of the breaking into a brand new moon, the Sagittarius, just even look, you call it the strawberry moon. My woman's craving was strawberries.
Oh my gosh, that's too good.
So she had different cravings, but her craving was strawberries. So guess what my daughter's nickname is?
A little strawberry.
There you go. So all of it really makes sense. So let's start from the bottom with you, Kristin. I know of you as just a person that is a seeker, a person of light, of star infinite wisdom and knowledge and comprehension. And I know that you can tap in to many different, or how about this? You can tap into the all to get you where you would want to be. But tell the people that are listening specifically, where are you at right now with the full moon? It's a cosmic time where things have coming into fruition, seeds that have been planted even 2 years ago. I read my diary 2 years ago, 2018, this time, the full moon was an eclipse and it was going into Gemini. This time it's Sagittarius. So just all the things over the accumulation. What do you do? Who are you? Like, who are you, Kristin? Share with the people, because I know I've started talking like tired of Lawrenzo.
That's so great. We're really an open field here. Well, you know what's interesting is that in my personal birth chart, my moon is in Sagittarius, my actual personal birth chart. And I feel like that's really in my phases of my life. I'm actually in that, the phase where that's the part of myself that's really coming out now. My moon part, my Sagittarius part. And, you know, Sagittarians like creating and they like learning. And I recently learned also, it's sort of like when things come together, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, you know, work together. So the parasympathetic is everything that happens naturally. That's when you're chill, you're relaxed, your breathing's right, your body's relaxed, you know, everything's flowing. And then the sympathetic comes in. That's more like, okay, danger's coming, fight or flight. What are we going to do? And, you know, we're sort of dancing, you know, between these two systems. And the things that I'm like really like feel like are on task for me and on tap for me, and what astrology says, are now the things that are in the parasympathetic. So I'm kind of like, just everything is moving into that meditative, flowing, creative, you know, just a place where, you know, like you were saying, okay, here's this big energy, you know, from the baby buzz. Hey, let's just ride that energy right on to this other experience. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, where I feel like my life is to a large extent, you know, at this point in time, where I'm really, you know, sort of following the creative energy, following the Shakti. So although, you know, I have the academic background, when I like, you know, play with my cards, there's a couple of cards that come up a lot for me. One of them is the sensor. So I'm, you know, spending my interactive time with the universe, sensing, you know, into what is going on. And then the shaman card, which is the you know, doing healing activity. So I feel like that happens for me. Like when I get the cards, when I pull and ask for what should I do, you know how sometimes you get frustrated or stressed out and you're like, okay, you tell me exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here on planet Earth. You know, you're like, bring it down to the bottom line, universe. You just tell me. I get the seer card a lot. And I feel as a seer, it's not just my job to like do a reading for one person, but to hold space for humanity as a whole, to say, you know, let's be investing in using our faith and imagination to create a better scene for everyone. And many, many times throughout my career, I was sort of directed, I feel intuitively and with spirit, to do certain things. And when I was doing those things, I didn't know that some stuff was about to hit the fan and there was a reason I needed to do those things for certain people. I just knew those things needed to be done. Then later, way after the fact, you know, months later, it would be revealed to me, oh, that's why I felt compelled, you know, to do that specific thing, you know, why that was so important to me. So, you know, I do feel like what's coming up for me is sharing more about, you know, like how to make systems work better for people. I worked in human services and education for 3 decades. So, you know, when I was working in there, I could see where the inequities in the system, or just like the clunkiness of the social support networks, where it really wasn't lining up, where, you know, you'd have to be like a Mario Brothers figure to be able to make all the connections, you know, boing, you know, and it's like, you know, that is not the way like a social safety net should be. You know, the whole point is social and safety. It shouldn't be like you have to be an athlete, you know, a mental and, you know, gymnastic athlete to get through, to get some basic things happening, you know, whether that be, you know, housing or education or, you know, whatever a person might need at certain junctures in their life where they don't have the personal support system to make it, and they need help, you know, from the government. You know, I really love like entrepreneurship and making it on your own and bootstrap, and I come from entrepreneurs. But I will tell you that I would not be where I am now if I hadn't been able to avail myself of help at certain times. And so I just feel like I would be put to good use by connecting with either businesses or groups or nonprofit organizations that were saying, hey, we got this thing we want to do, but we're not exactly sure how to connect the dots. Which I did many, many times when I was in that career, not because I was hired to do that, but somebody would say, your job is to help this person get from here to here. And I'd say, that's all great, but we don't have a bridge for that. And so then I'd be like, I guess I'm making the bridge. I'll be building that bridge, I guess, you know. And yeah. And, you know, and I feel like this interfaces with the Black Lives Matters right now, because I worked in environments where I saw where the gaps were. I saw the gaps. Okay. I could see where the holes were. Like, I'll give one example, for instance. When my child was little, he went to gifted public school at a certain point. And at that time, I was working for Pinellas County Head Start. And we kept massive stats on all the kids. Like, they were crunching data on how those little people were doing like mad. They even had like customized curriculum in each classroom based on how the trends were with their development. So we were Johnny on the spot, new. Then when I would go over to the gifted school, which was in the hood, okay, there were no little black faces in the gifted school where my child was attending. And I'd be like, wait a minute, you cannot tell me that we don't have a crop of little gifted people over here that need to be put into this system right here. And this is their neighborhood. And, you know, I brought that up. You know, I'm the brave, crazy girl who actually has the conversation. So there was a lady that worked at Head Start that was with me one day when I was picking my kid up from the aftercare there. And I'm like, look, what do you think about this? And she said, well, here's the first problem, is that the tests that they're going to give to check to see if these kids are gifted are going to have biases in the tests, just certain cultural things that are not going to be adaptive enough to really truly be able to measure what you're trying to get at with these young people. And I can't remember what the examples were, but I've done, you know, I've looked at some of that. So, you know, I've seen it there. I saw it there. And, you know, I'm the one who's nuts enough to say, let's have the conversation. So I've been leaning in. And, you know, when people were like jumping out and let's get in the street, I'm like, I've been in the street for 30 years, but not in the street. You know, I was in the trenches doing stuff to figure it out and understand it and not have it affect the way I did my work or the way I was doing my role wherever I was. I was trying to work around those gaps, you know, or at least see what was going on. You know, don't miss the forest for the trees over here, you know, be aware. And, you know, I'm so happy that we're having like this moment of hyper awareness. But what really matters is what everybody does tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. And being tuned in to what's going on in your, you know, in your environment. And I don't know if I told you about my helper family, but I have a friend, okay, who it's a Black family. The woman was my coworker. First, she was my client at WorkNet, and she needed some services, and I helped her access that. And then she pulled me up. She got the job at Head Start, and they needed somebody to do something, and she knew I could do it. I had been laid off, and she pulled me over to Head Start. So now I got the job that allowed me to buy the cottage that I currently live in because I helped her, then she helped me. Then later I see her walking the streets of my neighborhood, and she's like on that over-medicated kind of walk and movement and everything. Just this fall, she had some trouble. She came to me 6 months ago. I couldn't get help for her in the system. She ended up homeless. So then I put the case manager hat on, and I was talking to her. I was talking to her mom, who had gotten into an ALF, a lone isolated grandma, and the son, who was down in the hood sleeping on someone's sofa. The whole family's been broken apart. And part of the things that broke them apart was because they were Black. I know it. There were situations and circumstances that, had they looked like me, would have gone differently. And, you know, she played a big role in me having a roof over my head and the lifestyle I currently have, because the reason I can do this work and have some freedom with how I spend my time is because this mortgage is manageable. If I was getting the same amount of space in an apartment, I could not do it. So I talked with all of them for a while. I did my counseling and case management stuff and prayer. And in the middle of the night one night, Grandma remembers that they had a VA loan coming to them because Pam, my friend's dad, had been in the military. So I'm like looking at the rents. The rents are really high in the houses. It's cheaper to buy a house than it is to rent one. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the hunt. So then I start driving around, and my friend is visually impaired, and she has like a neighborhood that she knows how to negotiate. So I'm driving that neighborhood. I found a house, and they're now living in the house. They bought the house. And so now Malik, who is like 21, my friend who's a couple years younger than me, 40s, and Grandma, and this happened right before Corona broke out. Okay, had they all been in these little places, the shit would have hit the fan for them, because Grandma was in with all older people. Malik was sleeping on sofas. God knows who he was getting connected to. And Pam was in a homeless shelter. So, you know, I just feel like there are times when the universe opens up something and says, okay, here's your shot. Here's your chance. You could do something now. And I feel like that's what people need to look out for. They need to keep their eyes open for these moments when they could make a difference. And that doesn't, I want them to do it with people who are black or brown or beige or anyone, but particularly when like, the part of the reason why the family got broke apart to begin with was because DCF got involved, because my friend had to go to the hospital, and then they thought that she was neglecting her mother. It was all stuff that I feel like got just colored a little bad. It got colored a little bad because they were black. And I was like, oh my God. And then the poor kid is living in this low income environment. He gets in a car with somebody and ends up having to do 3 years. And he's like a perfect child. You know what he did in prison? He studied Buddhism and read self-help books for 3 years. That is what he did.
Oh, he came out on Zen.
Yeah, exactly. And he's a great kid. And it was just all a series of like unfortunate events that lined up that I feel would not have lined up that way had they had a different color skin. So there are opportunities for us to, you have to, I think it was maybe because I was already meditating. I was already practicing awareness. I was already, the compassion, was already flowing in me from, the meditation and my quest, to be a certain type of person from early. And then when these things would happen, I knew what to do. And I want to show you something because this is so pertinent because you have a baby girl. One of the things that helped me so much, I've never been nervous or afraid of meeting people that were different from me. I've always felt like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to meet this person to find out more about them. I always wanted to engage because the differences were presented to me in a way that said, this is positive, this is interesting, this is diversity, this is something exciting and wonderful. And how they did that is when I was little, one of the things that happened was I would get dolls. Like my relatives would travel. Like this one is from the Bahamas, okay? So I have this little person here, this little doll from the Bahamas.
Right.
And then I have one here. I have this Native American doll. She came from Seminole, Florida. I picked her out myself. She wasn't a gift. I'm pretty sure I chose this one. And then I have, I got this one for myself too as an adult. This little one is from Ecuador. And then I have someone here from Spain. This is traditional Spain outfit for.
Okay.
And then I have. And then I have this little Asian lady.
Are you a doll collector?
Well, this happened when I was a kid. It started when I was a little girl. I had I had uncle in the Air Force. So he was in like Japan and that part. And my dad would travel for business. So I have a great big one from Japan. I have a big one from China. I have ones from, I don't know how they decided to do this. Why did my people decide to be, and these were different relatives, and they would give me these dolls when I was little. And so I had this whole, universe of what a woman could look like, and
it was culturally diverse from a young age.
Yeah, exactly. But the way they did it was so clever, and I don't even think they were doing it on purpose, but it just worked out like that for me. I was just like down with it. It was exciting. The box would come and you would open it and it was like, oh my God, this is the traditional Japanese and this is the traditional Chinese, and look, they're similar, but they're a little different. And it was like, man, it was fantastic. And then, I will say that was also, all that was there. And then my mother, one thing happened. There was a Mexican family that moved into my neighborhood when I was about 7 or something. And my mom was inside and she was looking out the window. And some of the kids were teasing these, they could have been teased because they were new, which generally does happen, but they could have been being teased because they were Mexican. And my mother thought I was joining in the teasing. And she shot out of the house like a rocket and grabbed my arm and put it behind me like, don't even think that you're going to do that. And I wasn't doing it. I was being the peacemaker. But, lest me get confused, there was no confusion. You know, there was no confusion about what the expectations were from my mother on how we treat people that have different skin colors. And if someone came to the house to fix the washing machine when it broke, which it did, because, you know, we were fixing the washing machine. We weren't getting a new one. All right. Yeah. It was required that we offer that person a glass of water, and we say, you know, is there anything I can do to be helpful, et cetera, et cetera. And so
common sense is not common. Like, just
right, exactly. Common sense is common.
Regular communication between human beings.
Yeah, regular stuff. But you know that didn't happen in everybody's house. You know that didn't happen everywhere. So, you know, I just feel so grateful that was how I came up, because then when I was working in education and human service environments, I was never like uncomfortable or weirded out, because I was dealing with all kinds of different people. I was into it, you know. I'm like, bring it. Okay, where are you from? What's your thing? You know, I want to know all about it. And it was just, I don't know, I feel like it made my life richer. You know, if I had been like, I had worked later only for a very short time in a corporation. It was a low-level job. I just went there to get money while I was learning my intuitive stuff and my healing stuff. But it was, you could see at a certain level, it got real white. Okay. You know, down at the bottom, it could be diverse. But then as you start looking up, you know, you could see there wasn't much diversity. And, you know, one of the places when I worked in Miami, we had like the United Nations. You know, we had a lady from the Caribbean that was like blue. She was so dark. And we had a lady from Spain who was whiter than me, and I'm pretty white. And we all hung out and played together and went to lunch together. My dog's whining. Sorry, honey, just be patient. He thinks it's time for a drive. So, you know, I just feel really blessed and really fortunate that I had those experiences, and that my people were in a position to travel some and share with me their adventures. You know, I got to travel some outside the country, not a ton, but enough that I could see that when you're looking from the outside in, it's a different view than when you're inside something. And it helped me see, you know, some of the limitations and narrowness that was going on. I traveled to Germany as a high school student, and the high school kids there knew more about American politics than I did. And I have to tell you, I was put to shame. I was like, oh my gosh, all I care about is getting my hair flip right. You know, I wanted my hair like Farrah Fawcett real bad, and I would work on that extensively. And, you know, meanwhile, they were like knowing all about, you know, Ronald Reagan's history and all these different elements of what was going on in politics. And then when I went to Ecuador, there was a military base near there, and they would print stuff in their newspaper that made it sound like the Ecuadorians were starving. They had malnutrition, like they didn't have enough food. But the reality was
the Ecuadorian government would do that?
No, it was the Americans. The American newspaper, the American on-base newspaper made it seem like these people had no food, when the reality is they were crazy, crazy good farmers. Now, what would happen is sometimes because the water sources weren't always the best, you could end up getting parasites. So a person could get like malnutrition from parasites. But let me tell you something. There were like 10 different types of potatoes. They're crazy. They farm this terrace farming. So, you know, they can farm all the way up the mountainside. So like 70-year-old people come down out of the mountains. They're real small. They have big chests because they need to breathe way up high. And they're coming down with the potato sack. You know, and, you know, so there was plenty of food. There was no lack of food. My point is that sometimes the way things get presented inside the United States, or from a military perspective or whatever, is not like a straight up lie, but it's just slanted enough that you get the wrong picture.
The same slant that the entire Earth is projected on, right? About 20% or so. About 20% of lies or fiction mixed up with 80% of the truth will distort an entire picture and will have you throwed off on a whole nother course.
Exactly. And that's the problem. And so, you know, I really feel like people, it's so important that you have both an internal compass for what's right and wrong. You know, when you feel something in your stomach tighten, you know something's not right.
Hey, speak about that. Because I'm getting more in tune with my intuition and just knowing and feeling the words, like I said, and even seeing the words, like I see talk, like I'm seeing what I'm talking at the same time, like deep in meditations, because you meditate frequently.
Yeah.
So in meditation, I have found that I'm able to see, like not like heresy, but see, like I can hear the colors of what I'm seeing, or the shapes have a certain tone that I can feel.
Right.
Or, you know, so I'm able to pull that from my meditation into reality now. Even the reason why I'm on this interview with you after only sleeping past 48 hours, like no more than 6 hours at least, is because I'm on that baby drink right now. I don't know what it is. That baby buzz, it got me buzzing. But I knew that specifically there would be some words exchanged that energetically could get a person, even myself, first of all, and or you, because that's the energy that I bring. I will want to positively impact the people that I come in contact with as well, that it would do something for us.
Right. And hopefully for someone else. Absolutely. For me, you know, sort of stringing the story together helps me. You know, it helps make things real, things that maybe seem sort of real, but then when I tell the story and I see how the parts fit, it becomes more real. And, you know, that's really a huge benefit to me, to be able to tell the story and see how the things are hanging together. So back to your point on that part about tuning in to what you're sensing.
Right. How would you like give a person that extra?
Yeah. You know, the first thing is almost everybody has some little cues. Okay. They know at times they're getting some kind of a yes or no cue or a left or right cue. And the more you start to notice those cues, the better you get at noticing them. So it's just like practicing like anything else. You know, the more you shoot that ball through the hoop, the easier it becomes and the less you have to think about it. And it's the same. There's a couple things. There's one, take away the junk. Okay. Don't cloud yourself up with a bunch of negativity, too much drugs or alcohol, you know, really unhealthy lifestyle. That's gotta get out, you know, craziness, drama, you know, less of that makes it much easier to tune into the more subtle messaging and the subtle energies. And sometimes it's tough because just because you have intuition or you have gifts doesn't mean you have a smooth and groovy ride in life. And it doesn't mean that there's no drama happening around you. It simply means in this moment for X amount of time, you're not going to engage with that. Or like I put up a post this week, it came to my feed and I shared it out, and I see other people are sharing it out more, about when you're an empath, you don't need to feel everything that's going on. Just observe it. Just watch it. Like, don't close your eyes and run away, but you don't need to get your energy and your feeling self all up in everything that's going on, because if you do, you are going to be exhausted. And so yeah, and so you have to learn to say, I am watching this. It's outside of me. There's an energy, you know, bubble. I'm in my pink safety bubble or whatever yours is, you know, I do like a golden thing, you know, and I'm over here and that's over there. And, you know, I hardly even have to do that. If I'm doing the meditative practices that are correct for me from my Buddhist practice, it's just all there. It's all right there. I hardly ever have to do it extra.
your moon is in Sagittarius, so I mean, hello, you're emotionally wise.
Yeah, luckily. And that's a really big part, I think, of what comes through, like when I work with people one-on-one, or if I'm trying to help, you know, an organization do something better. Part of it is using empathy to understand what is going on and getting data from that empathy. And then once you have some idea what's off track or what's on track, you know how to magnify what's on track and minimize what's off track for the goal, whatever the goal, you know, may be. But without empathy, in fact, I heard something on NPR like a couple weeks ago, and I really wanted to follow up on it, and I haven't followed up. But there's some kind of project management where they're actually talking about the use of empathy, okay? And that the projects, you know, certain types of human system interactive stuff need to be guided by empathy. Because you're not going to create a good system if you don't use that approach.
Especially, it's interesting you bring that up about empathy, because empathy is being able to feel what another person is feeling, or have some sort of sense of grasping or understanding what they were feeling. Would you agree with that?
Yes, yes, exactly. Either like some people who are quote, quote, empaths may feel it directly, or empathy in the regular terms would be understanding how a person could possibly feel in that situation.
So, okay, so definitely coming from an intuitive woman like yourself, I definitely am an empath, as far as like I can pick up energy from other people, like their intentions, their thought patterns, like based off of their words, how they use it, maybe what they're underlining, what the things they're really not saying would be, like what's the message, so to say.
Yes.
But one thing I've also been finding out more about myself is that I'm able to use that energy empathically from others for myself. Because like you just said, with everything going on crazy, pandemic, it's pandemonium 2020, since people dying every day, woo woo, the world about to blow up, the end of the world, 2020 vision. Are you about to go to hell? Everybody's dead. Just craziness, right? I feel it. I can feel it.
Yes. Yes.
What's next, right? But as we started, it's always happening. That this thing called energy, right? Yep. And sometimes what I have been able to most recently find myself doing on even a subconscious level, like you said, I look back and be like, oh, I did do that. I see what I did right there. Lawrenzo. is that I've been able to use the energy that other people may deem to be negative, or whatever label they put it on. Because I know truly I'm an alchemist, so I can use that same emphatic energy that would affect me to infect or to affect other people, like to create other stuff in other people's world. So another reason why I had to come on this call, like that was
absolutely.
My answer.
You're talking about, actually what you're talking about is tantra. Okay, when you hear that word tantra, that's not just about sex. Like everything could be tantra. So you're using an energy to do something positive, okay? Like back to the peacock feather. You know, it's back to the peacock that could eat poison and turn it into nectar, okay? To just, because ultimately the energy is just energy, okay? How we label it and how we color it in is what makes it what it is. So if we're able to, you know, give up judgment about the intensity level, which, okay, that might be intense, but if you can work with that and say, okay, that may be intense energy, but that's okay, I can handle that, and say, oh yeah, like it reminds me of like Kung Fu and Qigong and, you know, all of the martial arts. You know, they can take a big ton of energy and just go, whoo, you know, and bam, that person's down and they're still standing there, you know. So you really, yes, it's completely possible to take a lot of energy that others could perceive as negative and use it in constructive ways. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always.
And alchemy. Okay. And so, yeah, alchemy it's another way of thinking about that. It's transformation. It's transformation. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the thing is also what I've been also attempting to do more of is showing people, like you said, because it's not just about me and you talking about this, because we're just iron sharpening iron, steel sharpening
Right.
steel.
Right.
We're diamonds still purifying each other like gold, right? Going
Yep.
through the fire, coming out more purified. The thing now, especially once again, 2020, all the craziness, people down, out of jobs, furloughed, lockdown, everybody in jail, just right, is now because more people are aware, more people are on Google, more people are asking Alexa, where is my soul? And Alexa is saying, in your heart chakra, and breaking it down like and I would ask anybody that has made it this far in this conversation, you are definitely a different piece of work. if definitely, like, ask Alexa, or if you have any friends, have you asked Alexa or any of this AI 2020 technology any spiritual questions?
Interesting. I haven't tried that, but it would be, is that what it said? Did you try that?
I see, because I always come with my real experiences, but yes, I've been asking people for themselves, for their own personal ability because I also have I have different theories in life. I believe we all come with theories, right? And a reason why I love interviewing intuitive people like yourself, because this is a spiritual season we in. All of the episodes moving forward, I wanted to set the precedent with someone I knew personally that has impacted my life. And I've seen also you impact other people's lives, even without you knowing, like, oh, Lawrenzo's watching me. You know what I mean? So I'm now like at the place where, okay, let me wake up the people that may ask Google, or now they're looking at the conspiracy theorist a little different. Like, maybe this is true, or after all these years, they saying UFOs, now they gonna talk about you. What else? So I would right now want to open up a train of thought for new people, like new people in a conscious space, or enlightening, awaken, and aware. Me personally, I'm a conversational magician. I consider myself a part of the subconscious community, because what I've been doing so long, I do it without really even thinking. I'm just, like you said, in the flow. So, but whatever that star being that you are connected with outside of yourself, what do you say, or how do you guide a person that is just now finding their spirituality or themselves? Because really, that's all we are. Like I said, anybody, if you have any friends, I think not only Alexa does it, but what's the other one? What's the other AI people always are asking out loud?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not into it,
Siri.
but I know what you mean. I think
Siri.
it starts with
Siri.
C.
Yeah, Siri.
Yeah, Siri. Yeah, or S. Yes.
Yeah, Siri, or whatever, right? All these AIs, my hypothesis is that a lot of people are awakening, but they're awakening because of artificial intelligence, which artificial intelligence, once again, has been created or co-created by the intelligent being. Because what is artificial means just that. If I'm out here fishing with artificial lure fishing, that means I didn't go in the yard, dig up worms, the worms squiggling, like I'm moving it myself. I'm creating the bait to trick you, the fish, into getting. So if artificial intelligence is similar to an artificial bait, what is the difference, or what is that other dualistic, that mirror image of artificial intelligence, and how would you or how have you continued to connect with that intelligence?
You know, a lot of, you know, I do levels of things. My readings are really my outreach. Okay, when I'm doing, because it's very right now usually, okay, it's usually like when I'm at an intuitive fair or something, people are looking around a room, they're sensing into people's energies, they're looking at people and they're like, you know, it's like right now they're making a decision. So there's usually some kind of an energetic connection between me and that person. You know, they're just like, okay, which one is it? Boom, boom, I'm going to these three. And that's sort of like the tip of the iceberg of the work that I do, because it's short, you know, it's 20 minutes. It's just kind of like, hey, let's just peek into the other world. And sometimes something really wild happens. Like last time I met a couple of ladies, and one of the, and their mother had passed away. And the first thing that happened was this daisy comes across from the other side to this woman. And I didn't realize that was her mom right off the bat, but apparently that was mom's favorite flower. Okay. And mom had passed recently. And so they were, you know, in still grief and still processing. And I'm these two. So then they did readings. They both had a reading. Then they took my B'ism class, which is body, emotions, intellect, soul, mastermind. And now they're both coaching clients. Okay. They both had stuff they wanted to work on. So for me, you know, I've created this little system, the BEISM, the B'ism, which I hope to bring forth into the world. And, you know, I need to have it trademarked and all that, because it has levels. And so it's a way of getting people out of, okay, I'm black, I'm white, I have a college degree, whatever, that's nice. But let's break all that off, and let's just go down into the basic elements. Okay, body, emotions, intellect, soul, and the mastermind is your God relationship. Okay, so that's how I'm doing it. And pretty much any level that somebody's at, they can get into that system. You know, I can get them to start reflecting on what's going on with them by doing this system. And then they're just growing along with it. And, you know, one of the things that happens when you develop your clairs, your intuitive abilities, is you can get ungrounded. Okay, people get into fantasies, they get confused, there's all this different wavy gravy. So, you know, with staying tuned into body and emotions and thinking, that helps people, you know, stay here too. You know, 5D is great, but you also need to deal with 3D. And so you know, so that's my thing. That's what I've been rolling with. And I'm trained as a theta healer, and I pretty much fly, you know, with the Voyager, because this deck is what helped me develop my clairs, this one deck. And oh, it's so funny. I pulled a couple cards before, and I was asking about your child, and I got two cards. I got the synergy card, okay, which is working together. Okay, synergy is, you know, everything's working together. And then I am so not surprised, I got the knower card. Okay, then to me, this represents claircognizance. So like when you're talking about how when you're doing your thing and you're like feeling the frequency vibration of the colors and all that, that's kind of a knower type of a thing. So, you know, and I'm sure your woman has intuitive abilities, but this is an interesting ability because I'm very claircognizant, which is I know a lot of stuff, but I don't know how I know. And for years I thought I was smart, which was great. Okay, I'm a smart person. I can speak well and all that. But later I started to go, I'm sorry, but you're not that smart. You're claircognizant, you know. And I know you have that. I know that you just know things, okay? And there's no reason that you should know it, but you just do.
You just see, that's how I know we on the right page of knowing, because that is the same voice that literally talked to me about 5 hours ago, said, because I'm telling my woman there's doulas around, but all the doulas are saying that I should become the first male doula in Orlando, and I'm thinking of business plans right now, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, how do I know this? How would I know? I've read my share of books, but definitely giving birth is something that over the general population, you see men, they're not really involved like that. So.
Right. Okay. So right now you've been a little bit of a hermit, of course, because you've been in Corona, right? Okay. Then you get the commencement card. Okay. So you're starting to think about this thing that could happen. I've actually thought about being a doula. It's such a powerful job. It's such a huge job. It's gigantic. Okay. And then there's, of course, you get the masters. All right. So here's you and your woman, the masters. Okay. The male, the masculine and feminine, powerhouse.
Hey, that's dope. That's dope. Tell everybody once again that if they made it this far, that they definitely need to know who you are. I know you as Kristin Geeslin. Then
yes, if you look on Facebook, there's 2 pages. There's my personal page, Kristin Geeslin, and then there's Kristin Geeslin MS, which is my pro page. I will respond to you no matter where you show up. I actually just posted a YouTube of my meditation that I created last summer. That's on my Kristin Geeslin MS page. I don't have a website yet, but hopefully it will be coming soon. You can listen to me. There's several YouTube interviews of me that I've done with other people, talking about different things. So if you Google my name, Kristin Geeslin, you'll get a lot of stuff. My Facebook page will come up, and it's Kristin. Geeslin is G like girl, EESLIN. And so there's a lot of stuff up there when you do that. So it would be great if I could finally get it all into a web page. And I do readings, and I work with people with theta healing, which is helping people reconfigure their belief systems so that they can manifest the life of their dreams, clear out any shock or trauma or, stuff that's past its due date. And then I also do the Beism system, where I coach people with that, and I teach people the Beism system to help them both stay grounded and enhance their intuitive abilities.
Yeah, that's dope, Kristin. I appreciate you showing up this evening on the Young Untouchable Family Podcast broadcast show.
I want to share one more thing, okay, Lawrenzo?
Do it.
Okay, and I'm always down for resources, okay? I've been in and out here doing work with people for a long time, so I always have resources to share. If people want to get with it in terms of their cultural awareness, there's 2 shows that I recommend. One is on Sunday morning on both of these shows are on WMNF, which is 88.5 in the Tampa Bay area, or you can go on your internet. One is the Urban Cafe, okay, which is all about what's going on in the Black community in the Tampa Bay area. And then right after that is the Jewish show, the Sunday Simcha. And how's this for diversity? When I go do my Buddhist practice in Tampa, I often listen to the Urban Cafe on the way there, do my Buddhist practice, and then listen to the Sunday Simcha on the way back. Okay, and then another resource that's just really great is the Southern Poverty Law Center. If you're ever in a position where you need materials to teach about diversity or tolerance, they have great stuff, and it's very, very economical or free.
Hey, that's cool. Yeah, and I'm gonna leave all the information and the links. This is just the beginning, Kristin. Like I said, I know that if time, as I know it, is really not valid, and there's no time, we will definitely be seeing you again.
All right, awesome. I'm down for that, for sure. I'm so happy that you are where you are, and just congratulations on the birth of your new child and on such an auspicious day. It's just really special.
I definitely appreciate you, and you continue to make moves and improve all the lives that you've been doing intuitively, consciously, and subconsciously.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love that. I'm going to take that intuitively, consciously, and subconsciously. Oh, yeah, babe.
All right.
Peace and happy to you.
Hey, you have a wonderful remainder of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye now.